right now.
Let's do it.
Hello and welcome to coverage of the Magic Online Community Cup. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Matt Tabak. And we're ready for the second round of draft, and that makes this, Matt, the second to last round of action here at the Community Cup.
Indeed.
Now, down in our feature match area, we've got Allie Medwin. You see her on the left. She's playing on the Wizards of the Coast team, and just below her there is Adam Staborski. We lovingly call him Stibbs.
The Stibbs. We got a glimpse at his deck before.
Yeah, blue-white deck looks pretty good, and you can see it on your screen here. And he's going to start things off with a Coral Helm Guide.
Fine turn 2 play. Definitely has relevance in the late game. Can make things unblockable for 5 mana. Allie responds with Core Castigator. 3/1 can't be blocked by Eldrazi Scions.
And it looks like Stibbs is going to go ahead and offer up a trade here. It was declined, but that's okay. He's got a follow-up play. What is that thing, a Halimar something? Halimar Tidecaller, a 2/3 for 3. When there's the battlefield, you may return target creature or target card with Awaken from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. And then it gives land creatures flying. So it kind of goes into what maybe is hinting at an Awaken theme deck or something like that. Or
yeah, the white-blue deck has some very strong Awaken cards, as we've seen. So the Tidecaller is a nice play pattern there. If you have to cast one of those spells early, if you can't afford the Awaken cost, then you get to buy it back. And then in the late game,
you can like use that clutch that BDM and I liked quite a bit. Bounce a creature, then play this, get it back. Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Clutch Occurrence, one of those very strong blue Awaken cards.
In the meantime, it looks like both players think that they're racing here. Allie attacked with her 3/1, and Stibbs crunches in there for 4, but now he's used Sheer Drop out of his hand here. No Awaken cost on it there to take out the 3/1 from Allie. Now she's going to rumble in with the 2/3 or the 2/2 flying creature here. And there's another Castigator. So pretty aggressive here from Allie. She's played a couple of 3/1s and a 2/2 with flying. Definitely looking to beat down.
And there is an Angel of Renewal hanging out in Allie's hand that I can see.
Which one is that?
It's a 4/4 flyer for 6. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each creature you control.
Okay. So reasonable.
Yeah, 4/4 flyers, always a good thing in drafts.
All right. So it looks like Allie says, okay, enough of this back and forth punching. I'm going to go ahead and block here. Is this another Halimar?
And there we see our Halimar Tidecaller. So just what I talked about before, Sheer Drop. Use it early to destroy a tapped creature. Now we can have it back.
Wow, that does seem sweet. BDM, take note, buddy. We're going to draft that one later.
That's a good way to go. I was going to comment earlier that the sequencing was a little unfortunate for Stibbs with that first Tidecaller because he had to use the Sheer Drop beforehand when the Tidecaller was already out. But number 2 came by.
Now, Stibbs is getting a little nervous here because of the land situation. He's on 3 lands and has been there for a while. The good news is his deck's been functioning pretty well without it. But as we see here, now Allie gets to start playing bigger threats like Hero of Goma Fada, the 4/3, and it gives everything on your side indestructible.
Yeah, indestructible attackers are very hard to deal with.
Can we go to 19 land in this format?
He said he did a couple of times.
I've seen it done. Yeah, I've seen it done well, too. As we're seeing with Stibbs, he's got cards like Drowner of Hope.
Ooh, this is a big one here. Titan's Presence is going to take down the Hero of Goma Fada here while the shields are down for Allie.
I mean, what's really tantalizing in Stibbs' hand right now is that Hedron Archive. If he can just get to 4, then he can get to 6. So,
but for now, he's been able to play a spell a turn, and he's affected the board. He's removed some stuff. He's played 2 removal spells and 3 creatures, and he's just kind of trucking along here.
Yeah, and he's got more gas. That Sheer Drop is back in his hand. Of course, Allie knows that this time, but he's got at least 1 more creature he can cast, and Mist Intruder.
Well, this is a good turn for Allie, though. She gets to play 2 3-drops here, including Drana's Emissary, which has really impressed me so far. And then she's got another one of these, what is this guy called? Shadow Glider, which I'm sure everybody's going to call Shadow Gilder.
Sure.
Now, does she attack here? Probably, right? If Stibbs wants to use his sheer drop, he's going to get something with it.
Yeah, I mean, Allie can't hold back forever. That's for sure.
Still, that being said, looking at the life total, she does have an interest in blocking here as well, as her life total's fallen down to 8. So she has fallen pretty behind in the race. So she may just want to hold it back for blocking purposes too.
Right. Now, Stibbs still does have that Coral Helm guide, so he has what we call inevitability. If nothing else changes, the they can't be blocked effect from the guide is eventually going to take Allie out.
Now, you mentioned this a minute ago, Tayback, but the Hedron Archive has now hit the battlefield, and all of a sudden Stibbs' mana problems are at ease. He now can kind of do what he wants here. No attack there for Stibbs. Kind of interesting. He has a 2/3 that could have traded for any of these creatures from Allie. Suppose he wants to keep them around to maybe get some unblockable going, but in the meantime, it looks like she's going to gain some life here off that Angel you mentioned a little while ago, Matt. There we go, Angel of Renewal. So she gets 1 for each creature, so she's going to gain 4.
nice little 4 life boost here, which is really going to help.
And like you said, the 4/4 flyer certainly important here as well. Oh, geez, look at her hand. Resolute.
Oh, it's a Resolute Blade Master.
Yeah, now that's going to give all of these flyers double strike if she can find a red mana source, right?
That is correct.
Oh, man, that would kill Stibbs in one shot. Lucky for him, she hasn't found that red mana source yet.
Now we're setting ourselves for kind of an interesting sequence here. We might see the Drowner from Stibbs, and that's going to give him 3 creatures because he comes with 2 Eldrazi Scions, and then he can sacrifice a Scion to tap target creature.
He's going to need to do that. She has lethal in the air.
That's going to come in handy if Allie's team is all of a sudden double striking.
No,
she just has enough straight up.
Yeah.
So Stibbs does not have enough mana to sheer drop right away.
No, but this has him falling down to 3 after the Drana's Emissary trigger, so he's not in a good position here. That the flyers on Allie's side have really done her well. Now he's going to be able to use the Drowner to keep a couple of these at bay, and then he can use his sheer drop next turn to take out the Angel as well. But he's taken damage in the process, and his clock is getting short. And thanks to the life gain from the Angel, Allie's at a pretty comfy 14 here.
There we see the tapping of the 4/4.
Must happen.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
And realistically, he has... Uh-oh.
I would have expected another creature to be tapped.
The problem is that now he has to use his sheer drop on Drana's Emissary, or else he just dies on her upkeep.
Correct.
But that leaves the 4/4 Flying Angel at bay here. So this is going to get ugly for Stibbs. I don't see a lot of ways out of this.
Adam's got, I have to count here, like at least 99 problems and not enough answers. In fact,
that was it.
Allison won't even let it get that far and just ends it right away.
Yep, and you see her kind of nod the head like, we got him, fighting back for Wizards. Now, Wizards took a little bit of a beating in the first round of this draft. It wasn't a bloodbath by any stretch. It was 1 match gap, but it was 5-3. And that did give the Community Cup team, the community team, the lead, even if it is by a fairly narrow margin of just 4 points.
Not a comfortable lead.
Not at all. Like this round is going to dictate a lot. We're going to go into the 3rd round after this, but this round could really set up either team for victory or for defeat.
Oh yeah, we are absolutely going down to the wire. So sit back, hang on tight. Whatever it is you do with your laptop, we're gonna have a fight to the finish here to award this Community Cup to one of these teams.
I took your advice. I'm sitting back.
Yeah, sit back, relax. Lean with it. Rock with it.
No,
whatever
I'm
it is you do.
that much advice from you.
Okay.
Looks like she's just splashing for that double strike guy. What was his name again? Sorry, I haven't quite learned the new names yet.
Oh, the Blade Master.
Yeah,
Resolute Blade Master. Yeah, we saw the land that produces red or green in Allie's deck that she animated in the game from the last match. Yeah, that Angel is nice. Hero of Gomafata. Some nice cards there in Allie's deck.
Stibbsy taking a minute to stay properly hydrated.
Something I recommend for all Magic tournaments, even those that happen in your living room.
Yeah, he knows he needs to win back-to-back games against Allie here, and she's not going to make it easy on him, that's for sure.
All right, game face is on for game 2 here.
Now, how does his hand look for Stibbs?
This is looking good. He's got Sheer Drop to hold off early aggression. He's got an early creature and Mist Intruder. He's got the Channeler and the top of his curve, Breaker of Armies, all set up. So looking good on the bottom there for the community. Allie's hand, plenty of land, which is good to see. Also some early creatures.
This is what finished off Stibbs in the first game, by the way.
Absolutely. There it is, Claustro Healer. Castigator's a nice early aggressive creature.
How about a Benthic Infiltrator?
A very nice pickup.
Really nice.
Stibbs hits it on curve. And Allie's got to be feeling good about the Smite the Monstrous in her hand. Looking forward to the mid to late game.
Core Castigator's what she's going to settle with here. Now, is that an ally? Oh, jeez. Could have a nice little black-white splash-red ally curve out here from Allie Medwin if she can keep the creatures hitting the battlefield. In the meantime, you know, Stibbs has a pretty good start here, but when you look at it, it's not amazing, right? You know, he's played 5 mana worth of creatures with a grand total of 2 power.
Yeah.
You know, they're evasive. They're going to be pecking away and doing their thing, but he kind of needs the payoff for this type of strategy to make it really good. I wouldn't be surprised to see him attack here. He kind of wants to encourage Allie to attack so he can use his sheer drop potentially. He also can just attack with one of his creatures and leave the other back to block pretty cleanly here too. Let's see what he exiled from Allie. Oop, over here. 2/3 flying Courier Griffin is what he ended up taking away with that first hit. And he's just going to attack with the Infiltrator here. Yeah, I think if you want to attack, it's probably just with the Mist Intruder, you know, if he's going to rumble.
Yeah, that 1/4, even though it can't be blocked, looks like a nice defensive card against a 3/1.
Agreed, yeah. I think I would just attack with the Mist Intruder there, as it's unlikely to do any blocking anyway. Well, just as I say that, well, no, I guess not. So this Shambling Vent becomes a 2/3 with lifelink. For pretty cheap, just 1 and a green-white. And really, there's no good block here. I mean, he can block with the Benthic and she's just going to gain 2 life.
Relatively safe attack for Allie, even with untapped land on Stibbs' side. Says, I'd like to gain 2 life. Stibbs has no choice but to oblige.
Yeah, she would have been much happier being able to cast a creature that turn, but she just didn't have anything to do with her mana. Kozilek's Channeler goes on the stack and hits a battlefield for Stibbs, and all of a sudden, the Breaker of Armies you see sitting in the lower left side of your screen is starting to become within reach here. In fact, he can cast it next turn. Sorry, he needs another mana.
He's getting 1 more land.
It's
kind of an interesting question now. Allie is on Smite the Monstrous. It could happily take out the Channeler. I wonder if she has her eyes on a larger threat.
You'd think she'd probably just take out the Channeler with it. Like, it means that Stibbs doesn't get to untap with a bunch of extra mana, and frankly, it's bigger than anything she's doing anyway, so it's a real threat. I don't blame Allie for just immediately killing the Channeler.
No, she would have had to have committed at least 2 smaller creatures to take it out. It's unlikely it would have attacked, given that it's can be tapped for mana. So it's interesting.
Well, no, I mean, also it's a 4/4, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Stibbs easily could have just been like, rumble. Take 4.
Yeah, sure.
It happens. But it does mean that Stibbs is now marching his way up towards that Breaker of Armies. He's only 2 mana away from it after drawing a land this turn.
Yeah, Stibbs will have to wait a couple more turns for that. But
yeah.
see, Felidar Cub.
On average, it's going to take 3-point-something turns to get that thing down. But, you know, he might find land.
And looks like a sheer drop just came off of Allie's library and into exile.
Oh, she's got another one.
So perhaps a bit of unfortunate luck on her side.
she going to use this sheer drop here? Oh, Hero of Gomafada. That looks pretty nice. Doesn't enable an attack from her. No, not currently.
No, even if her attackers are indestructible,
No good attack.
Stibbs has the size right now, so the 1/4 doing a fine job holding off the 3/1 Core Castigator.
Now that's a weird card, isn't it?
Which one?
Calastria Nightwatch.
Yeah, this one is kind of unusual. It plays into that white-black theme that we've talked about gaining life.
Yeah, you weren't kidding.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. There are plenty of good rewards for life gain in this one, and this black vampire gives the team flying, so...
And, you know, she's got another copy of that card in her hand as well.
I do. So, Halimar Tidecaller for Stibbs, I believe.
Does look like it. Now, does he have any Awakened cards in the yard?
I don't believe so. He bought back his sheer drop once. That's still sitting in his hand. Allie with no good attacks has not provided
I
a
have
lot
a
of
rules question.
tapped. Brian is right there.
Can he cast sheer drop?
So now, to cast a spell, you have to be able to choose legal targets for it. So if there are no tapped creatures available, then no, he can't.
He can't just awaken.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, some of the spells with Awaken don't require targets,
Mhm.
and then the Awaken ability, if you choose to cast it for that cost, adds a target, namely the creature you control.
The land.
Yeah. Correct. Sorry, not the land creature. The land that you're going to turn into a creature.
Right.
So what's interesting about those spells is that if you choose to cast it for Awaken, and now this spell that normally has no targets has one target, the land you control. It can then be countered if that land becomes an illegal target.
Right. And
So-
we've seen a
prevent
few
you from
ways.
drawing cards with Coastal Discovery by,
Right,
by
exactly.
wastelanding the land you're targeting.
Correct.
And
Or-
there's an
and-
instant speed land destruction spell in the format, too.
Yeah, and it's not unusual in this format that the land you target is already a creature. If you just want to pile on more counters, we see that on occasion.
All right, so it's time for sheer drop because you know what? Allie's got a really nice little combo set up. She cast this Calastria Nightwatch the turn before. Then the next turn she casts this one, and you think, okay, whatever, there's another. But the healer lets her gain a life whenever an ally comes in onto the battlefield. So that gave the other one flying and let it rumble. Now, Stibbs sees where that's going. And
Yeah.
and he's going to just go ahead and use his sheer drop right now. Now, he had the previous turn decided he wanted to use up some mana and just cast the Halimar Tidecaller. That does mean, though, that he's not going to be able to dig back up that that sheer drop with the Tidecaller. But it looks like he's got that Oracle down there, which can.
Yeah, Stibbs got a lot of mileage out of that sheer drop. Maybe not quite as much as he could have, but definitely an efficient use of that card. And, of course, the land that he woke up does have flying, thanks to the Halimar Tidecaller.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for him, Ali Medwin's at 21. Oh, and here's Hero of Gomafada, and this is just piling up on Stibbs.
This is some very excellent ally strategy for Ali.
How do you pronounce her name again?
Ali,
Ali,
ally, rally.
Rally.
I don't even know words anymore.
So check it out. They're all flying indestructible now. Look at this.
Stibbs
Ali
hanging out.
Medwin not messing around here.
I like being in the red zone so I can contribute such things as
Well, we appreciate your support, Brian
Yeah.
David Marshall.
It looks like Stibbs has decided to chump block with his Mist Intruder. Meaning that he's only going to take 3 damage this turn, dropping to 8.
Down to 8.
Man, he needs to find mana. He just hasn't drawn a land since that turn. Ali, you know, snapping off that creature. The Kozilek's, this guy down here, Kozilek's Channeler was huge. Stibbs is still on 6 mana and just needed that Breaker of Armies a long time ago.
And did you see what he drew?
Oh, nice.
That sheer drop, I may have said he got a good amount of value, maybe not quite as much as he did. But he's going to go around for another time, and that sheer drop looks like that other 4 or 5 creatures. So
Yeah.
now the flying is going to be turned off.
Which is huge for him.
That's going to allow him to block.
Nice draw there from Stibbs. And here's Kenji Higashira to lend a hand when needed.
Unfortunately, there at the top left of your screen, you see ally Medwin has no allies around her to help.
Oh, jeez.
But that's okay. She's going it alone. So Stibbs has removed the flying capabilities. Let's see if it's enough. Allie with a sheer drop of her own.
Is she going to take out a land here?
It's probably a very good play, given that that land is also a 3/3 flying creature.
I think you're right. Also, it puts Stibbs really woefully far away from playing the Breaker of Armies for 8 mana in his turn, leaving him with just 5 available mana. Well, here comes Hero of Gomafada anyway.
There's no way to say that card's name without sounding like a novelty record, right?
What do you mean a novelty record?
Oh, if
Sorry,
you don't know,
man. I'm sorry, man.
If you don't know it, I'm not going to inflict it upon you.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
This is like if you're sitting in your living room and you're playing Magic Online and your parents are giving you a hard time. You're like, Goma, Fada.
Jeez.
No?
Look, there's a serious tournament happening here. I just had
I got
a
notes
note
from Rich Hagon before taking
yeah, I can
this
see
gig.
that. I just got a note from Graham. He says it's very quiet and very tense out there.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll go rile them up.
No, you don't need to do that. They're
Okay.
concentrating right now. We'll unleash Tayback on them at a later time. For now, you're stuck in this room with me. But as you can see, I mean, look at their faces, right? These aren't people just gleefully having fun playing Magic. They want to win.
No, these are people very seriously having fun playing Magic.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. And it looks like Stibbs is going to kind of call here and line up a massive triple block on the Hero of Gomafada.
Tandem Tactics from Medwin.
No. What does that do?
So up to 2 target creatures each get +1/+2, and you gain 2 life.
So she used a double combat trick, though in this case it just killed an additional creature rather than keeping her Hero of Gomafada alive. But that turn worked out really well. She was able to sheer drop away the land that you talked about a minute ago. Nice follow-up here, though, for old Stibbs is he's got a 3/5 Oracle of Dust.
It's a big body.
It's a big body. That's really what's important here. He can start looting, maybe just get rid of that Breaker of Armies. It's probably time to just say, okay, let's move on past that plan.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd happily trade that in for a castable card at this point.
Exactly. And he's got 5 cards in exile for Allie. But here's the key: it's okay. Now he's hit his 6th land again, and now we're starting to think maybe that that Breaker of Armies is looking a little better. But anyway, yeah, it's a 3/5. It's actually just clogging up the ground, so it looks like Stibbs has actually turned the corner. He's not only stable, he's slightly ahead now with that flyer.
Allie had no good attacks on her last turn. This is letting Stibbs crawl back into it.
Wow, that was a huge swing, that last attack step there. Even though Allie was able to play the pump spell, it wasn't enough to save her hero.
Yeah, I think Allie picked up a Core Blade Whirl. So this is a 1W 2/2. This is the rally ability that grants first strike.
Okay, that doesn't look intensely relevant at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Although she'll take it. It's a spell.
It's definitely great in those early turns.
It's
when
also
you probably
another
have creature.
drain here, down to 7.
Okay.
Now she could just send the team in here, but she would lose a creature of some sort. But she would also incentivize, like she could send Core Castigator in the Plains. Plains gets blocked, and then Castigator might or might not get blocked. It's a little risky. Basically, her plan at that point would be to try to draw enough allies to drain them out with that, with this drain Colostria Healer.
Yeah, I don't think you can risk the Colostria Healer in combat right now.
No, you certainly can't.
Sending a 3/1 and 3/3.
It's
one of
not
them's gonna get
terrible.
eaten.
Yeah, she loses one, but then she probably forces Stibbs to chump block. It's not an actual force; it would drop him down to 4, but he'll be nervous.
Yeah,
I think her best play is just to pass a turn here, but
I
she's
agree.
got to evaluate here as well.
If he comes with both of the 3-power creatures, I think the Oracle blocks the 3/3, and then the other 2 creatures step in front of the Castigator, and this goes for a trade. You can see they're serious. They are intent on this game. They know what's on the line here. All right, so Breaker of Armies, the lone card in Adam Staborski's hand. Plains, the lone card in Ali Medwin's hand.
Yeah, I was looking at the main map. I couldn't see what. Okay, but
It's like the players are attending to something off screen for just a moment, then we'll get back to Ali's main phase. Pre-combat main phase, I should say. Yeah, I don't see a good attack for her here. I think she can trade with the either the flyer or the 2/3. Maybe that's not the worst plan, though. I'm not sure. But Stibbs can afford the hit and go to 4.
I can tell you that 4 of our matches are finished this round.
Okay.
I'm not going to be specific about who did what, but I will tell you that it's 2-2.
2-2. All right. So community hanging on to that lead.
Yeah, so she's still thinking about this attack, and I do think that this warrants some amount of thought. I think the solution here is just do not attack, but it's close. She's really trying to whittle Stibbs down and finish him off, but she's got to draw too many allies, I think, to really make this work before he can turn it around. So yeah, I think she comes to the same conclusion and just passes the turn back.
The thought of getting the 3/2 flyer,
he's going to loot here, which is correct.
Off of Stibbs's.
I think I would just discard the land.
Yeah, no reason to hang on to the land, I think.
Like, I think at this point, the Breaker of Armies is enough within sight that I'd rather have it than a random card off the top of my library. And
especially when that random card is Hedron Archive.
Fully rewarded for looting there is Stibbs. And next turn, that Breaker of Armies is going to come down. And if Ali doesn't find something very quickly, that will end the game.
Yeah, this is going to allow Stibbs to cast Breaker of Armies on the next turn, and on a following turn, cash in that.
Yeah, and she found nothing. Look at this.
So more land for Ali.
Now, she does have the ability to wake up Shambling Vent here and attack too, which is, again, a little bit of a desperate attack, but she's not going to do it. And now we're going to see an Eldrazi hit the battlefield here for Stibbs. He's going to go ahead and loot anyway. Now he doesn't want to see any lands, but yeah, Breaker of Armies. He's going to hit hard. Hey, he even got a land off the top. How lucky. And he should leave that land in his hand now because he wants to loot that away for a spell later on. But for now, boom.
There it is.
10-8. Everything has to block it.
Now, Marshall, do you always loot in that situation? You have the one card that you definitely want to hold on to. You don't loot.
You don't have to.
Okay.
I just tend to loot whenever I can because there's no downside and there's sometimes a little upside. Sometimes there's a lot of upside.
Right.
Like in that scenario, he found the Hedron Archive instead of a land. But he was pretty happy before doing that with either a land or a spell off the top. So with no flexibility, it's probably better. But still, I don't blame him for looting. It doesn't actually change much. And now he's got an island in his hand as well. What is this
So this is United Front that Ali drew. This is the sorcery that makes the white core ally creature tokens.
She can make 2 of them?
Looks like 2 right now.
Can she do 5 damage this turn before doing that? And keep her Calastria healer alive?
Even if she wakes up the Shambling Vent, she cannot. She doesn't have enough creatures to push through. She might be able to force...
GG.
She might be able to force some chumps.
I'm giving up on her. I'm done.
You're just off of it?
Yeah, good job. Good job, Stibbs. We'll see you in game 3, buddy.
So, she is at 25. If she attacks with everything, those tapped creatures obviously won't have to block the breaker.
Yes.
So she won't get completely wiped out.
Of the ones that survive.
Right. They will have first strike.
One will survive, probably.
Well, they will have first strike.
Oh, okay.
Presuming she makes the tokens.
The Unified Front pre-combat here.
Right. She'll have the tokens to chump block.
That would put her at 27, Stibbs at 5.
It's not a hopeless situation.
It's close.
It's better than just getting blown out.
Agree. If she does it and attacks with everything, what happens? I mean, 2 creatures, 3 creatures would just outright get eaten. And the other one would either get blocked or not blocked. But it looks like she's just going to do nothing here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a tough spot because the Breaker of Armies is just going to wreck. Is that the clutch?
That is the clutch.
Yeah, I don't think he actually wants to play that here. Like, he'd rather just have them all get gobbled up by the breaker of armies, right? Why save one?
If anything, maybe there's a play where he bounces his own Tidecaller to get sheer drop back.
That's kind of interesting.
Or
Also he could bounce the planes now that I think about it, because he's not putting a spell back in her hand. He doesn't have to worry about that.
right.
And let's see, that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. If he takes that off the table, it's 3, 4, 5. It's only 6, so actually he can't profitably block either. He's going to cash in his Hedron Archive instead, though.
Yeah, there's some
Royal Spout, too?
Oh wow.
Well, he played his land.
Yeah, if you have enough mana, there's some great plays with like Clutch of Currents with Awaken, bouncing the Tidecaller to buy back the Clutch of Currents. You can just go crazy.
Well, I think what he should do is probably bounce the land and then attack, because right now the creatures actually do gang up to eat the breaker of armies.
Oh yeah,
3,
sure.
4,
Why?
5,
Yeah, why?
6, 7, 8, 9. He's got 8 toughness.
Right.
So I think I would just go ahead and get rid of the planes, and it looks like that's what Stibbs has decided here as well. He played that land so that he could awaken here. Now, if he's feeling a little brave, he could also just attack with the team. You know, if the breaker were to get somehow messed with before blocks, it could be a disaster for him. But if not, he does get in for an extra 3, 6, 8 damage, a pretty significant amount here.
Yeah, Ali can wake up the Shambling Vent to, I think, have enough power on board to kill the breaker.
Okay, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 exactly. You are correct.
And I think Stibbs saw that, which is why we don't see the attack with everybody, maybe?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. The problem is that, now
yeah, all 4 of those. Yeah,
they're
that doesn't
all
even
dying.
So this is clearly a huge swing for Stibbs.
This is massive for Staborski. This is going to put him into game 3 without a savage top deck or 2 from Ali.
Ali's going to fall to 24 here.
And look at Stibbs' hand. He's still got Royal Spout and Sheer Drop in hand too.
There we see that.
He almost wants her to cast a creature. Well, she drew another Unified Front. So she can make 4 1/1 tokens here, but they just all get eaten.
But to what end?
Yeah,
right?
to what end indeed.
They could chump. They could maybe gang up on.
I mean, I
one
think
of the
you do
attacking
it,
creatures.
right? Yeah.
Maybe they could take out a Tidecaller, but yeah, I think you have to do it. We see Ulamog's Despoiler.
Do we know what that guy does?
So Ulamog's Despoiler is one of the processors that we've seen. So the all the cards that Stibbs has exiled from Ali is going to come into play here. It's a 5/5. As it enters the battlefield, you can process 2 cards of your opponents from exile into the graveyard. If you do, it enters with 4+1/+1 counters. So you get a really good deal, a 9/9 for 6.
And she, in fact, has 3 cards in exile from earlier.
That is enough. So Stibbs on the march now. Just a matter of time, unless Ali can draw something pretty impressive off the top.
Stibbs being conservative, leaving back one of his creatures here. This does knock her down to 15. You can see behind him, I see a Megan Wolf. I see a Doc. And Stibbs picks up the game. Sigh of relief for Stibbs, but he's still got one more to go here. And boom, back to business. They're going to get in the heel on the sideboarding plan here.
Sorry, you can see the look of elation on Doc's face. That's just sheer joy,
Pure
really,
joy.
at tying that up. Ally on the left, still devoid of allies. We'll see if she has to go it alone here in game 3. As players are sideboarding. And Marshall, as you told us earlier, 2-2 in the 4 matches that are
That was
complete.
before.
Oh, you have an update.
Yeah, now there's actually 6 matches in.
Okay.
And if I count them, it is Community, Community, Wizards, Community. That's 3-3.
That is 3-3.
So we're all tied up here still, which of course favors the Community. They came in with a slight lead here. And Stibbsy is probably going to use his one time here.
All right, so we see Ali has mulliganed down to 6 cards. Stibbs has mulligan down to 6 cards.
His hand looks good, though.
That's a fine 6-card hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd take that hand.
Both players are going to scry 1 before we get going. All right, Allie has 2 planes available, some core castigators in hand, so she'll have some early plays.
There's Ulamog's Despoiler. Okay, that's about as aggressive as it gets here. Like, Stibbs is probably going to need to trade this Misintruder off, right?
It's possible.
The
He's going to see no 3rd land from Allie, so that's...
Is that the first strike ally?
It is.
Uh-oh.
That's core Blade Whirl. So the whatever chumping plans or whatever trading plans he may have had, those are out the window.
Yeah, now you're right. He's going to note that there's no 3rd land, but it doesn't look like she needs one at the moment. She's casting another Castigator next turn, too.
We might see the sheer drop here, just to take some of the pressure off. There's a Halimar Tidecaller in hand.
Which I think actually makes me more likely to want to sheer drop.
Yeah,
here.
me as well.
Because the whole point of the Tidecaller here is to block anyway. Oh, he's going to rumble. He's planning on Allie drawing another ally here.
Stibbs is banking on Allie not having an ally to follow up with.
I think he's actually planning on her having that.
Oh, you think so?
Well, otherwise he could have just blocked the Castigator with his 1/2 flyer, right? Because he would surely like to make that trade if he had the option.
Sure.
Wow, this is aggressive. Oh, she has the tangent or
Tandem tactics.
Tactics. Uh-huh.
You have to think Staborski will sniff this out. He has seen the card.
But here's the question. Even if he does sniff it out, doesn't he just block anyway?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't want to play into it, but this
Okay.
is playing into her plan here because she's going to get to follow up with another core Castigator.
Stibbs has to be careful here. He's down to
Yeah,
12.
He's already down to 12. She's stuck on 2 lands, but has proven so far that she does not need more.
Okay, now for sure we're going to see a removal spell from Stibbs.
Yeah, sheer drop City here. Wouldn't be shocked to see him sheer drop the, is it a Blade Whirler? Is that what you said it's called? Here, I can actually just
Oh,
look.
the one that grants first strike?
Yeah, Blade Whirl.
Core Blade Whirl.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what he did.
I think that's the correct move.
All right, Stibbs looks like he has stabilized. Oh, he's going to attack again, though.
Let's see what daggers are awaiting
That's interesting.
Allie. Plains has entered the exile zone. I'm sure she's not thrilled to see that.
She has, of course, 2 planes, the card that she wants to see off the top of her deck. Now, she does draw one, though.
Okay.
All right, she's going to rumble with both. They get +1/+2, the tandem.
Yeah, so this is going to be enough. It's going to push it to a 4/3.
So even with a block here, which now Stibbs is going to block.
Stibbs is going to absorb 4 more damage.
Lose a creature. Down to 8.
Down to 8.
Can Allie really pull this out on a two-land draw, just having hit her 3rd mana now?
Another sheer drop.
Okay,
Very
that
timely.
is going to help. Yeah, a land would have been great for Stibbs there as well. He's also got Titan's Presence. I think Stibbs is going to be able to pull this out. Now he's going to leave his Misintruder back to block, and Allie misses another land drop. She doesn't really need to trade here. And she has to just pass the turn, and there's the big
Stibbs
draw step for Stibbs.
Finds his 5th land and finds an Oracle of Dust.
Pretty sure he's turned the corner now. He can start attacking with that intruder again if he wants.
And if Allie's luck holds, we'll exile another land card.
Definitely a swamp. Oh, well, a castable
Shadow Glider.
spell, yeah. And she drew a swamp. All right, her luck is turning.
Ah, the whims of variance. Always makes these games exciting. So Allie finds her 2nd color.
Plays a Drana's Emissary, but I think that Staborski's going to just snap that off with the Titan's Presence here. He's got a colorless creature to reveal here, right? Yeah, there it is.
And one that's large enough.
Yeah, Despoiler.
Titan's Presence is going to compare powers here. And 5/5, big enough.
Now, of course, that does mean that Ali gets to know about Ulamog's Despoiler. So she may want to save that sheer drop for it. Let's see what Stibbs ingested here. It was a swamp. Shadow Glider?
Yep. Stibbs correctly playing a little conservatively, leaving his 3/5 back to prevent the Core Castigator from attacking. At 8 life, has to respect Ali's possibilities there.
Oh, no. Stibbs draws Royal Spout off of the loot. Immediately plays his land because he's looking to awaken here. This is kind of a neat mechanic that we're going to see here too. He can Royal Spout it to the top of the library and then exile it with Ingest.
That's a fine combination.
Yeah, it's actually
Really
kind of
good.
interesting here because I wonder if he'd rather just have her redraw that rather than have a chance at a land and give up a damage point for it. But he doesn't. He wants to gobble it up.
Oh, when we get rid of it permanently, right?
But he made himself a 4/4 island, which is, of course, key here. It's tapped for now, but next turn it's going to do work.
I don't think it's going to do any work.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's interesting there is
Threat of work
threat of work.
was enough.
When you cast the spell with Awaken, does give the land haste, but sometimes you just need to do it on that turn, even though it taps the land. And we saw that from Stibbs, and of course it left it open as a target for sheer drop. Stibbs continuing to filter those cards, use the exiled cards of Ali's as fuel for the processor.
There are these things that we have to worry about.
Now, Stibbs has taken a while getting his beat down on. After that quick start for Ali, he's just hung back, pecked away in the air a few times, and he does have Ali down to 17, but that's not a particularly low life total at this juncture. He is going to need to find a way to kind of turn the corner before she draws out of this. She's got a 4-drop and 2 5-drops in her hand, 1 mana away from starting to slam those 4/5 flyers, and those are going to be an issue.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You wonder how long this window is going to be open.
No.
Yeah, just this. Yeah.
Also, we note that Stibbs' clock just turned red. That means he's under 5 minutes, which is plenty of time.
Probably won't be too much of an issue. We see Coral Helm Guide enter the battlefield on Stibbs' side. So
Ooh, there's a land for Ali, and here comes some
Yeah, she has 2 of those. Yeah.
some Calastria Nightwatch action here.
really big body.
This is huge, actually, because she's going to cast another one next turn, sending that one to the skies and taking half of his life total if he doesn't chump block.
Now this triggers whenever you gain life. So Ali's gonna
Oh,
be
sorry, that's
no
the
problem.
gain life. I thought it was the ally trigger.
Yeah, Ali's
Rally.
so kind of a crossover there with that strategy. So we see the white-black life gain coming into play.
Yeah, so he actually can't gain life, or she can't actually gain life at this juncture, right?
Not as it stands, but we've seen lots of cards in Ali's deck capable of doing that. So that threat could come at any time.
Okay.
And correctly, the Mist Intruder is going to respect that.
Yeah, now, interestingly, she has found it. The problem is she doesn't have the mana she needs to actually cast it.
Right, so we're going to see another 4/5.
Yep. Yeah, this is
Al-
getting close now.
Ali is gaining control of this game slowly but surely. That I go back to the sheer drop on the tapped island before that knocked Stibbs down to 5 mana available for so long,
Totally.
and how we saw the Despoiler just sit in his hand.
Yeah. He finally found a Kozilek's Channeler
Yeah,
to be able
Channeler
to
last
cast it,
time. We finally see that Despoiler. It's going to be 9/9.
I see Sam Stoddard, has just appeared. You guys will notice on the left, the player cams, a lot of people huddled around. And like I said, Graham was just down there in the feature match here, and he told me it is quiet and tense. That's how he described it. And I have to say, for the most of the weekend, nice. She's just showing off at this point. Look at that.
Angel
Boom.
of Renewal.
Yeah, that's not the pawn. I was talking about this.
Oh, sure.
But still, that is huge for her. She found an untapped mana source, and now she does get to gain life and a lot of it. And these Colosseum Night Watches are up in the air. She can attack with both of them and force a chump block here. And then she has lethal next turn.
We're going to see a chump.
This is huge. Stibbs is way up against it. I don't think he can get in for 18 this turn. He can loot here, but it's going to tie up 2 of his mana. And even if he gives his 9/9 unblockable, it's not enough to kill her. She's got a 4/4 flying in the air right now.
Yep.
Ready to attack. Stibbs has to find an answer.
Last turn we said Allie was waiting on for some life gain effects to give her team flying. No longer needed. That angel is ready to go. Can Stibbs draw out of it? He still has a loot. That is not an answer.
And Allie's going to win this. Just to keep this thing as close as can be.
He's looting again. Now he didn't leave an island untapped. I guess Clutch of Currents might have been not even then you bounce the angel, it's life gain, so many flyers.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it like the life gain is huge here on 2 fronts, and mainly she's bolstered her life total up to 18 this turn and just can't really die. And
there
she
it is.
does it. Allie Medwin defeats Adam Staborski to take one back for Team Wizards of the Coast. And that actually does it for the round.
Check out our players there. An intense game.
Yeah,